So now we've created the bean configuration in the XML file, we're in a position where we can actually use the application context and get Spring to create our Spring managed bean and then programmatically retrieve it and execute a method on it. So let's do that now. So let's go into the app and let's just run this now. Control-Shift-R will run this just to make sure it runs and there's nothing bad happening, which is fine. Process finished with exit code 0 means everything's okay. That means that at least now it's loaded this application context XML file, and we know we're not getting the errors that we had before, so we know it's a valid file. So the next thing to do is just do ctx.getBean, and as I said before, we just pass in the type of the bean that we want to get. And the type is a bean of type myService.class. Just pass in the class reference there. And let's assign it. And also then once we've got it, we should be able to call the doSomething method. So let's put a breakpoint here and debug. So we debug with Control-Shift and D. That lets us debug. And we can step through it line by line. So first off, we create the context. So F8 steps over that. And now we can see we've got this file system XML application context, which is our hook into the Spring framework. It's basically the Spring runtime, which holds all of the beans and is the instance of the container itself that the application is going to use as its backbone. And inside here we can see it's got a few things. It's got the config location application context.xml from which it's initialized. That's the XML file we just created. So double click that to go back. And then just collapse that. And now if we do F8, we should actually have the bean itself. So now we're calling into the context saying get the bean, which is of that type. There's only one bean of that type, so that should work. So F8 to step over that. And here we can see we've got a bean. So myService at 1651. There's no fields on the bean, which is fair enough. But if there were, you'd see all of the instance state there. So any of the members you'd see there. So it's looking good so far. And then finally, if we do F8 again, we should see that that message is emitted. So we'd have to jump over to the console for this. But yeah, here we can see it's put out that message. Oops, it's put out that message doing something important. So we've made an invocation on that bean. And F9 to just finish playing that. And it's finished.